Hello and welcome to Broken Entertainment. So I got a copy of Superman Wonder Woman from Future State, and I'd like to dig into that a little bit. There will be spoilers, so if you're wanting to go read the comic book before you get any spoilers, then I suggest doing that. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and dig right into it. So this is the cover. As far as covers go, I think it's pretty good. I really like... I actually like the look of this Wonder Woman a lot, and I think Jonathan Kent's Superman is okay. I like the colors a lot in this one. The only thing I have with Wonder Woman here is that we also know that in Future State there's the other Wonder Woman, and we know from the end of Death Metal that essentially there are no boundaries between universes anymore. It's all one big conglomerate of some sort. And these are basically Elseworlds stories. They're going to go on for 2 months, and then they're going to keep the characters that were popular and ditch the rest. So they don't have a whole lot of meaning to me. I'm sure Wonder Woman, this one, and Jonathan Kent will probably continue on after this. And I don't... I get why Jonathan Kent is Superman, because essentially he inherited it from his father. There's no reason not to pass that mantle down from father to son. He could arguably have gone out and become his own superhero, which I think I would prefer, but that's been a thing for a long time that the son of Superman becomes Superman, so whatever. My question is why this other Wonder Woman is called Wonder Woman. Like, to me, it's weird. Why not just make a new hero? You know, they ground her in the mythology of South America, but they call her Wonder Woman. And they give her Wonder Woman's sword, and they give her armor like Wonder Woman. And to me, it's just... why didn't you just make this another hero? And we see this a lot, where they will race swap heroes instead of just making new ones. You know, there's plenty of room for new heroes and new characters. And it feels like you're saying, oh, well, I believe she's Brazilian. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll just say South American. A South American superhero can't exist and be popular. You're saying she has to take the mantle of somebody else. Wonder Woman is not a mantle. It's not a title. It's what they call Diana Prince. So why is it being treated like a mantle? And I know that it has in the past a little bit as well, because you had Nubia, right, who was the twin of Diana Prince, who is the Black Wonder Woman. And there's a reason that character went away. Because it doesn't make any sense. Just make a new character. But, you know, here we are. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Personally, for me, this comic is pretty indicative of a lot of DC writing lately. I was hoping things would change and it would be interesting, but it's really not. But it has some points to it. So this is the first page, and we're immediately treated to a ripoff of the Orville. If you haven't seen the Orville, the city in the Orville has all these gardens and trees and stuff growing out of the tops of buildings, which actually kind of makes sense in a world building perspective if you're going to try and clean up the atmosphere, so to speak, and clean up some of the city-borne pollutants, stuff like that. But having already seen it in the Orville, this just looks like you copy and pasted the city from the Orville. Like, it actually really does. It just, all it's missing is the flying car things, and you've got the Daily Planet symbol there. But so we're introduced to Superman, Jonathan Kent Superman, and he's waking up and starting his day. And I'm not going to get into all this. I mean, look at all this text. It just goes on and on and on. And you get this thing about the end of death metal in here in case you hadn't read death metal, so that's fine. And he uses his powers to carve Good Morning Metropolis into the sky, so he's definitely not his father. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of interesting just as a character quirk. I like the shield and continuing that onto the shoulder pads. The rest of this picture looks horrible. I don't know what's going on here. It doesn't look like he really has a belt or pants. So that's not great. Then you see that he's distracted, and then he sees it takes him 0.39 seconds to realize that there are two suns in the sky. You're going to see this a lot with him. A lot of references to how quickly he picks up on things in exact seconds. And initially I thought that was done just to show how quickly he processes information, but it's done for a different reason. We'll get into that. Then it jumps to Sao Paulo, Brazil, so I was right. You see all these helicopters in the sky and just deadlock traffic down below. And we get this text where this guy, this Brazilian senator or councilman, is getting into his helicopter. He's going to jet across town to a meeting, and he complains about protesters. Not a big deal. Then the helicopter pilot gets blinded, and they begin to crash. And you get this really nice shot of Wonder Woman saving the helicopter. I think it's a really nice action piece. And it's the first time that it really focuses on any action instead of a million different boxes of text. So that's really nice. And I do like I said, I like the costume for this Wonder Woman. I like the appearance for her. I think she's really done really well. Moving on. So she rescues them and pulls him out of the helicopter and proceeds immediately to lecture him. She says, your duty as councilman extends to Sao Paulo's infrastructure, don't they? You are meant to oversee the rebuilding of these roads. You can see all the traffic again. Emphasis on all the helicopters in the sky as well. Rebuilding that would mean the end of the traffic jams that trap ordinary people on the highways for hours at a time while you hop and skip across the town above. It is they who must listen to the whirring all day and night, and they would be the ones crushed if I had not been here to save you. So she almost sounds like she wasn't going to save him, but did because they would have crashed on other people. I think that's kind of crappy, but even though he's supposed to be a corrupt politician. She keeps going. Hundreds of helipads in a city this size, and where has the money for the roads gone? Please, Wonder Woman, I suggest you find that money very soon, senor. Perhaps it has slipped down the back of your seat cushion. You might check. And then the helicopter pilot says, drop him or I'll shoot you. And she says, please try and shoot me. I've been thinking about this, and I don't really know what I think of this particular scene. On the one hand, it shows her values as a character, that she stands for the little guy, basically. And on the one hand, it shows that she tries to save people whenever she can. On the other hand, challenging this guy to try to shoot her seems like a weird threat. And the facial expression kind of shows that as well. And there's another thing about this scene that when you first start reading the comic, it doesn't really stick out too much. This is the beginning of the stereotypical standard DC Comics. The woman's going to lecture the men because the men are all bad and corrupt and stupid. We're going to see a lot of that in this comic, and it gets really tiring. It's not even offensive. It's just boring. It's just, can we just stop? Like, I just want heroes to do hero things. Why do we have to do this? It is a hero thing to stand up to corrupt officials. That's not new. It's just the way that it's done, and in the greater context of the rest of the book, that it just gets to be like, oh, we're going down that road again. So we move on, and she makes them write stupid shit on the side of the helicopter as punishment. And so again, you have woman punishing man. And again, initially it doesn't seem like a big deal, but we'll get there. So then she goes to this ranch where she is friends with the sun and moon god. I get what they're doing there. Diana Prince knows a lot of Greek gods, so they tie her into the South American native tribe culture down there, and makes sense. It's kind of neat. I don't know anything about them, so I looked them up a little bit. I really like the colors on these two animals here. I think they stand out really well. Also, the sun god here and the moon god, whose names I can't pronounce. I'm sorry. They do a really good job of showing their differences. There's no question. When you look at them, which one's the moon god and which one's the sun god. So then he sees the two suns in the sky. He gets all pissed off. And she says, oh, it's Solaris, the tyrant son and enemy of John's, or Superman. And then he says, I'll show him exactly whose galaxy this is. Which is weird, because it's not his galaxy. It's his solar system, but okay. I will not be replaced again. So he's mad, because another sun's here. So he shoots up. And here's where we get to what I was talking about with the men bad thing again. Solaris is a male name. This character is male. I'm not going to get into details, although I will say I like the way Solaris looks. I think that looks great. I like the way they look in space together. I think that looks great. And I love the way he talks. Solaris has flown 18,000 light years across the universe to replace you, destroy Superman. The little slash marks there. I've seen that done with some other things to show how they talk kind of strangely. I really like it. What I don't like, and I skipped some pages here. What I don't like, or I will be, is that you have two male characters arguing about ego. Because it's, oh, I'm the sun. No, I am the sun. No, I am the sun. So you have Superman, and he's talking to the Justice League while he's watching these two idiots race around the planet, because that's what they immediately start doing. They're going to get into a contest because they're men, and they have to compare each other's egos. And not surprisingly, that's causing all kinds of problems. First of all, it's a yellow sun and a red sun, so it's causing problems for Superman. It's also causing problems for the Earth itself, and you get this long list of issues, and Superman goes, well, it should take me 9.3 seconds to dock that manually, and 12.6 seconds to put out the fires in Brazil, another 8.2 to sweep for survivors. This is how Jonathan talks, and how he thinks, and the reason for that is he's a very scientific character. He tries to approach things from a perspective of science. So this is their way of showing him as scientific. It's kind of lazy to me, but it's not awful. But again, we are pages into this book, and it's just text, and not a whole hell of a lot going on. Yeah, classic Superman save here. So that's, And then the son and the other son start arguing some more. Now they're arguing about who's hotter. Yeah. And then they're going to go into a son-off where they just start being hotter than the other one. So again, you have two men measuring their egos and causing problems on Earth and not caring because they're men and they're more interested in their egos. So she borrows the moon god's it says headless mule, which is weird because there's a head right here. I don't know. I don't get that, but maybe it's something related to the myth. I don't know. So she goes to the fires in Brazil, and she starts saving people because she's Wonder Woman, and that's fine. That's neat. And look at this. Look at this panel. Look, this whole page. There's a little bit of text and pictures of Wonder Woman doing neat things. And Superman comes in, he puts out the fire. That's great. Then they talk, and we quickly learn that they have some kind of history together on some level. He explains, I'm okay, the tyrant's red sunlight plays havoc with my Kryptonian cells, but the yellow sun seems to be overcompensating. I'm being depowered and overpowered all at once. She says, oh yeah, that'll be the sun god, Kuat. Kuat, I think is how you pronounce that. Gods get so petty. So the only two gods we've met are men. 3 gods. Solaris. Is that gods get so petty, or is that men get so petty? I don't know. We'll move. A sun god. Probably some sort of 5th dimensional imp masquerading as one. So John doesn't believe in her myths because he is the scientific white man. I'm sorry, the scientific person. And she can't possibly be correct about her own culture. That's where we're going. She even says, no, a sun god from around here. He has myths and everything. And he just ignores her and brushes her off. You see where this is going. Okay, so he runs up and there's... I won't show the pages because I can't show every page, but the two jerks in space tire each other out, and Solaris is going to spend time repairing himself, and the sun god, Kuat, goes back to Earth to sleep. And then you have the next morning. Oh, and Jonathan Kent goes up and challenges this son, Solaris, to a stupid contest. Again, 2 men competing with egos. This one will be a contest of strength. Yay. So then he thinks, I'm going to invite Wonder Woman to the Justice League. Perfectly reasonable thought there. It's Wonder Woman. And he brings her to Metropolis and explains that he's stalled Solaris and they'll have to deal with him later. Then she says, if you're asking me to join the Justice League again, you must have extricated yourselves from the United Planets. Otherwise, you'd know I'd be very angry that you dragged me all the way to your city to waste my time, yes? Well, no, we haven't. But yeah, you know things aren't the way they were. The world is a better place. We're a part of that. John, I don't have super hearing. Do you know how I knew that Amazon would be on fire? Get ready for Wonder Woman lecturing Superman, because he's a man. And more importantly here, he's a white man who refused to accept her culture. Okay? She said earlier it was a sun god, something he refused to acknowledge. Then he ignored her when she tried to explain it, and he left. And now she's reminding him that it is sun god, and they are actual things. But we'll get to that. No matter how many of the 3-day work weeks or rotating syndicalist governments the world puts in place, powerful people gain the system. They find ways to make more money, such as over-farming the rainforest, regardless of how dry and combustible that makes it. So, being a literally, well, we're not really literally this time, but a hero from the Amazon, rather than literally an Amazonian. Being a hero from the Amazon, it makes sense that she would want to defend the Amazon rainforest. I get that. I don't take that as too political. It's just part of the character. And the whole, we get another whole, she's for the working man and not the rich overlords type thing going on with the making more money part. People who would not be afraid to cross me if I was part of your self-righteous little system. Look, out of the two of these people, who is self-righteous? The one who's saying, hey, I think we could do a lot of good working together, or the one that's lecturing the guy, telling him he's self-righteous, while also going on and on about how the system doesn't work, and rich people manipulate everything, and his quote-unquote little system still puts people down, because the Justice League is part of a government organization. Which one of those is self-righteous to you? So I'll deal with this with Kuat, who is a sun god, because those are a thing. So now she's mad that he would not acknowledge her culture. And then he goes, oh, I didn't mean to imply. He's going to apologize for not acknowledging her culture. And she says, whatever, John. You sure you have Solaris handled? You really don't look too hot. Now, here's where I have a problem with the art. Other than I think Superman, below the shoulders, looks kind of terrible when he's in his Superman costume. We've been told twice now that he doesn't look good. But when you look at him, he looks fine. This is a visual medium. You should be showing us that he doesn't look good, instead of telling us that he doesn't look good. Then he goes to do his thing with the clouds and passes out. The problem with this book, for me, is mostly that nothing happens. The book is literally about a woman trying to save people and having her culture ignored, while men stand around and argue and compare one another's egos. That's the book. I read the original run of Superman Wonder Woman from New 52, or at least I read about half of it. That was at least interesting. This is men bad, women good, rich people bad, poor people good. But more than that, nothing happens. It's just people getting in stupid competitions that resolve nothing, leading to a plot I'm supposed to care about where Superman is weakened by Solaris. Oh, how's he going to deal with Solaris? Well, it's called Superman Wonder Woman. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Wonder Woman's going to help him out somehow. Just thought. It's really frustrating to have this big initiative from DC where they're saying, hey, this is our new cool thing we're going to do. This is all going to be so great. And it's, at least this book is boring. Nothing happens. I realize it's the introduction to a series, But I should be compelled to read further instead of going, oh, well, okay, so he's going to pass out, and then Wonder Woman's going to help him probably by getting the sun god to come and bathe him in solar radiation, and then they will fight Solaris together and win. There's no stakes here. There's no compelling narrative. It's just lazily applied social agenda and a boring story that doesn't do anything. If we compare that to Boom Studios' Power Ranger comics, both of those issue 2, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, ended on massive, scary cliffhangers. And if you want to look at issue 1 of Power Rangers ends with the Omega Rangers stealing Lord Draken from Zordon to go into the universe and try to save it from complete annihilation. That's a narrative. You know, the end of Mighty Morphin 1 ends with Lord Zed, who was unconscious, presumed dead, waking up and being more powerful than ever, with the threat there obvious and implied. Versus DC Comics, one of the biggest comic book companies on the planet. Superman, Wonder Woman, issue 1. 2 men stare at each other, measure their, let's say, egos. And then another man comes in and also measures his ego. And a woman tries to save people, lectures a corrupt politician, and then lectures Superman. Leaving us with Superman's going to go fight something, but he's unconscious because he's weakened by his powers because of the red sun, and boy, isn't that exciting. I'm not mad because there's nothing to be mad about. It's just the same thing that we've already seen with different characters. It's just DC Comics. This is what they do now. So if you like the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you next time.